So you're worried about the Colorado Springs housing market and whether you should buy now or later or not buy at all due to the impending doom.
You're gambling with World War III.
Well, with rising foreclosures, inflation, and now a hiring freeze hitting our military city, should you even think about buying a house right now? It's a question that I get all the time, and today we're going to be breaking down the facts. No fear mongering, just real numbers and what they mean for you. My name is Iris. I'm a real estate agent in Colorado, and I'm here to help guide you through some of this stuff. The market has come to what feels like a screeching halt so far for 2025. We thought things were going to get better after the election, but we all know that this election felt different. It wasn't business as usual. Inflation has slowed the market down, but it's not just inflation, it's interest rates and it's the dark clouds hovering over us. The housing market scares many of us. I think about it often. I mean, how can you not? Uncertainty is all around us. We're nervous about the new president and the tariffs and how they're going to affect housing. You might be worried about the future of our country or potential wars. It's all over the news and social media, and it's all that you hear sometimes. Today we're going to talk about those things and how it's affecting our local market here in Colorado Springs. And I do have some good news towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter to get accurate and local updates about the real estate market in Colorado Springs and surrounding areas, check out the link below. And listen, you're not going to get stats like mine anywhere else online because most real estate agents use the MLS data given by the board. It's easier to do, but the reason mine look different is because I do it manually to make sure that it's just the Colorado Springs housing market stats. I don't include other markets like Pueblo or some random town out east that you've never heard of or don't care about. Nothing against those towns, but I know that you guys are looking for Colorado Springs information. So I've created all these charts for all of you visual learners that are like me to see the trends and where they're headed. Now we're going to look at average days on market. We're going to look at median and average home price, foreclosure starts, and mortgage delinquencies. So these numbers might shock you, but I've been keeping a close eye on all of this because it's my job, but also because I want to make sure that the information and the guidance that I'm giving to my clients is the most up-to-date and accurate. But first, let's start with the tariffs and why that could hurt the housing market. The housing industry is watching closely as new trade policies take form, and with material costs already rising, they're already high, these changes could shake up supply chains, slow down projects, and make homes even less affordable than they already are. We've got tariffs on steel, lumber, concrete, and other really important building materials that could push construction costs even higher, and that's a big deal in an already tight housing market. Builders are going to have to find new suppliers, and CoreLogic's analysis suggests that if implemented, these tariffs could push home construction costs up to 4 to 6% over the next 12 months as material costs adjust to the new landscape. Building a new home in Colorado Springs costs about $200 to $350 per square foot, depending on the house and all of the upgrades you get. And that can come out to around $550,000, depending on the size and the location. Now, with the proposed tariffs, that cost could rise by tens of thousands of dollars up to $570,000. Labor costs might not be affected directly with these tariffs, although if we're worried about the workers that are visaed in to do the work and build the homes, it might have a huge impact. But CoreLogic goes on to say that they depend more on local demand and the availability of skilled and unskilled workers. Immigration policy, like I was mentioning earlier, could also play a role in labor supply over time. It's also unlikely that they can meet all the demands without importing materials. So something to keep in mind, especially given the current housing shortage. About 4.4 million homes across the country were short, including 1.6 million affordable starter homes. So to address the affordability crisis, the government is considering several strategies, including releasing federally owned land for housing, reforming zoning laws, and to allow more housing types and offering financial incentives to builders. There's also a push to make it easier for builders to get financing for affordable homes. I think that's been in the work for a while, but we really haven't seen any fruit of that. For now, the full impact of these tariffs remain uncertain, but higher costs are likely going to be passed on to home buyers, especially in areas where construction costs are already high. They're just going to pass that on to home buyers. And when it comes to FHA loans, there is also a concern with a rise in FHA loans and their delinquency rates. Housing Wire recently posted an article about rising mortgage delinquencies, but before we get into that and the new numbers that just came out, I get a weekly report of all of the foreclosures that are in the city. And though this is a national article discussing the FHA loans, when it comes to our specific market, I looked through the list and I didn't see a ton of FHA. I did see some, but I didn't see like as many as people are saying. So each market is specific, but new numbers just came out and more homeowners are falling behind on their mortgage payments. At the end of 2024, 3.98% of all home loans were overdue, and that's a small but noticeable increase from the previous quarter and last year. Foreclosures, where lenders start the process of taking back the house, also ticked up slightly, about 0.15%. But in El Paso County, the notice of election and demand for foreclosure exploded this year, which we'll get into later in the video. So what does that mean? More people are struggling to keep up with their mortgage payments. They bought at the height of the market. They overpaid and they didn't overpay because that was the market value at the time, but they had higher interest rates and a higher purchase price. And so they were at the top of their budget. So once insurance went up, taxes went up, people started to not be able to afford their mortgage payments when they were going up hundreds of dollars, not just like $35 here and there. They were going up to $200, $400, and $600 more per month, which crippled their, finances. So if you're a homeowner, staying on top of your finances is more important than ever. And if you're thinking about buying, this could mean more homes hitting the market in the future. But with our shortage of inventory, I don't know how much of that is going to get absorbed super quickly with all the people moving in the summertime. Let's talk about the average home price in Colorado Springs. Before we get into the average home price though, I do want to disclose that these numbers are from RSC, our MLS board, and they may not reflect all the activity in the market. Some homes, for example, for sale by owner, they might not be entered into the system, so obviously those will be excluded. But the average price in Colorado Springs for a single family home this year in February was $544,000, and people are losing about 0.8% of the original list price compared to January, where the home price was $542,000, losing 1.5% of the original list price. So basically people are listing it for this amount, but they're not getting the full asking price. They're losing anywhere between 1 to 2% of that original list price. And that's before price drops. So that's not even including if they started at, $560, but then they had to drop it to $550. And then from $550, they only got, $542. So that's kind of what that looks like, because there have been a lot of price drops. Now, the median home price in Colorado Springs in February was $464,500 compared to $470,000 for January. So a little bit of a dip month over month. But the winter months are difficult to get a true opinion of how things are fluctuating. Some say that the extreme weather this year kept buyers out of the market because it snowed a lot and they kept them from buying. But let's take a look at the previous year. In February of 24, the average price was around $500,700. In January of last year, the average price was approximately $513,000. The median home price was $450,000 for February and $440,000 for January. So home prices are up compared to this time last year, even though February did have that extra day because of leap year. But we're up on housing prices and are predicted to continue to go up, according to Realtor.com, up to 12.7% throughout 2025. And if you didn't see my last video about our $1 million market, you need to watch that next. I'll link it below. You'll also learn today why home prices are not going down in Colorado Springs. Average days on the market in Q1 of 2024 was between 54 and 58 days, while in 2025, we're sitting closer to 63 to 74 days, average days on market. So if your home is taking a lot longer to sell, Well, that's why. Usually homes were flying off the market within days, weeks, or, just a couple months. But now it's looking like closer to 3 months. So it's not your agent. Don't blame your agent if they're doing all the marketing. It's just the market. And if you want to sell it faster, you're just going to have to drop the price. But the days on the market are way, way up. And this is for single family homes in Colorado Springs. I don't usually like to mix up the condos and townhouses in that data because sometimes it changes the viewpoint so much. Condos and townhomes always take a bigger hit during the slow market times. And so single family homes are still holding on and getting closer to their list price versus the condos and townhomes. Now, if you want me to do one on condos and townhouses, just comment below. But these data videos, they take days to prepare. So if you appreciate these market reports, I would love it if you could give this video a thumbs up or a comment. That'll give me a sign to keep doing these videos. And if you want the townhouse and condo one, just let me know and I will do that one soon. Now, another red flag that I see here, in 2024, we had a spike in expired listings. Just to be clear, an expired listing means that the house was on the market, but the listing contract between the seller and the agent expired before they could sell the house. And this is part one of the reason I believe home prices aren't coming down, because home sellers are just taking their homes off the market rather than reducing the price. And the biggest reason for this is that they don't really have to sell, and also they don't have enough equity to even cover the sale of the house if they wanted to. So they'd rather just pull it off the market and try again later. The second part is that we still don't have enough homes to buy in Colorado Springs. When it comes to townhouses and condos, we have a balanced market at about 5.8 months of supply. But if you're looking at single family, we're still short. Technically, we're in a seller's market at 3.3 months supply, which is trending longer compared to last year at 2.3 months of supply of inventory, but still very, very low. I was speaking with a lender today and we were talking about the supply and how some of the uglier houses are sitting on the market and they're not updated or they need a lot of work. We're not in 2021 anymore. People want move-in ready, so you're gonna have to fix it up. But the nice houses are going very quickly, or people that are in the upper middle class are still able to buy, and those average home prices, basically those buyers have been priced out and they just can't afford them. So those are sitting longer. So kind of, it's a weird market. Yesterday when I looked on the MLS, we only had about 2,900 homes for sale and only about 1,600 or so are inside of Colorado Springs proper. So that's just not enough houses for people. That's less than 2,000 homes for all the people that are moving here or wanting to move up. We've got almost 500,000 people living here. 1,600 homes is just not enough. So when the good ones come along, everybody wants that one listing or those 2-3 listings. They come along and they get snatched up really quick and they have multiple offers. So homes that are outdated or have issues, like I said, are just sitting on the market. Now, when it comes to foreclosures, I recently went to the El Paso Public Trustee to get stats, that's where I always get them, on new foreclosure starts, but it looks like they haven't updated it since November. So I manually pulled the data for these homes that have had a status of foreclosure in the last few months. So February was interestingly shocking because of the huge jump to 92 new foreclosure starts. And that's significant as we haven't seen a month like this, that it's this high since April of 2022 when it hit 119. So it's still not a cause for panic or concern of a housing crash. At least not yet. 2024 was still historically low for foreclosure starts and even lower than the last couple years. You may be hearing a lot of conversations and social media posts about a crash coming soon just because we're due for one, right? The 100-year cycle, the 10-year cycle, all these weird conspiracies. But the numbers just have not revealed that yet. And it could be happening in other markets, but not in Colorado Springs for sure. But if you want to stay up to date on the Colorado Springs housing market, make sure that you're subscribed and you'll get the latest and newest information as it unfolds, especially if you're on my newsletter. Now, people are also talking about growing concerns over increasing debt and auto loan defaults and depleting savings accounts. So that is also increasing the fear around housing. But if you are not in default yourself personally, you're good with your finances and your debt to income remains under that, I would even say 30% mark, you might still be a good candidate to buy a house. I wouldn't let the fear keep you from living your life. People are still moving, people are still buying and selling during these down times. Just not as many and not as swiftly. People are taking their time to make these decisions. You just have to plan to stay in your home a lot longer. I've mentioned that multiple times on this channel. Anything can happen in life, but we prepare for the best that we can. And you live your life, but you're just cautious. Don't buy if you're not ready. It's okay to save up and wait another year. These effects won't happen for a while, and it could take up to a year or more for more foreclosures to finalize, and the tariffs may be not as long. And if this does happen, you'll need to have a plan. And this will be hard if you don't have 6 months in reserves and savings or, things in place for this kind of thing. Now, how this affects our military city. One of the things that could be a major concern with housing, especially in the springs, is the economic impact if federal employees continue to lose their jobs. And on March 1st, the Department of Air Force issued a memorandum to pause on hiring civilian employees effective immediately. So no new hires, no filling empty positions, and job offers already out, they're actually getting pulled back. And they also can't get around it by hiring contractors to do the work, even though they're allowing exceptions for critical jobs like those that are tied to national security, public safety, or immigration enforcement. But the details on that are coming later. For now, civilian hiring is officially on hold across the board, which could cause a huge domino effect from staffing issues and delays and hurt the economy as well. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point. We have such a heavy military presence in Colorado Springs. This could really hurt us. Now, when it comes to interest rates, I actually got a text this morning right before I hopped on to go over these numbers with you from a client of mine. Shout out to Dr. Walker. Thank you so much for sending this to me right on time. But he has sent me an article about interest rates and that mortgage rates just dropped and everyone's jumping back into loan applications, shooting them up 20.4% last week, the biggest jump in a long time. And people are feeling unsure about the economy and new tariffs, which helped push the rates down. Refinance applications went crazy, up 37% in a week and 83% higher nationally than this time last year. Most people still have lower rates locked in, but if you bought in the last couple of years, refinancing might finally make sense. Home purchase applications also rose 9% for this week, but they're only slightly higher than just a year ago. It still looks like rates are bringing buyers back. So people want lower rates, and now we're getting a huge influx of buyers. So while there's a lot of unknowns with jobs, housing, and inflation, it's important to find an agent you can trust who's going to help you see the bigger picture. At the end of the day, no one can predict the future, but staying informed is your best defense. Whether you're thinking about buying now or waiting it out, having the right information can make all the difference. I'm here to give you the real numbers, the local insight, and the honest truth, no fluff. And if you're serious about navigating the Colorado Springs housing market, make sure to subscribe for the regular updates and we can tackle these together. And hey, if you need help with real estate, whether it's buying or selling, feel free to book a free consultation. I'm here to help you. Don't miss my next video where we'll break down even more insider stats and what's really happening behind the scenes as our real estate market grows. Click here to watch it and I'll see you there.